Okay, so there's an entire betting site in China where people can bet on whether or not a League of Legends pro will win or lose their solo queue game on stream. The thing is, the teammates of those pro players are being contacted by the bettors to intentionally throw their games. The players win big and the bettors win even more. Believe it or not, people are being paid to throw fakers games on stream. Okay, just before we get into that, I'm going to point you guys towards the subscribe button. If you haven't subscribed already, what are you waiting for? We are on the road here to 2 million subs. Incredible number. We're really excited, so please help us get there if you haven't subscribed already. First things first, illegal gambling sites have been a thing in China for years now, covering both traditional sports and esports, but this is something different. People are apparently betting on streamers, including pros, to lose their solo queue games and bribing their teammates to throw them. Because obviously it's a lot easier to get someone to throw a random solo queue game than it is to get a sports team to throw a professional game, and that is where these sites have swept in. I spoke to Ole, who alleges that the people throwing these games are playing from China on the Korean server. More from him later. Korean players affected by this have been looking to Riot for a solution, and on Monday, Riot responded. In a statement translated by Inven Global, they said, "We've confirmed that a number of players overseas have been involved with illegal Chinese esports gambling websites to directly influence the win/loss of LCK pros, and that they've illegally used Korean accounts in the process." The statement also said that Riot had inspected 10,000 high ELO accounts in South Korea and had deactivated all accounts that were suspected of being illegally used overseas. Those foreign accounts were apparently using third-party software in order to lower their ping to be able to play on the South Korean server, and so Riot has implemented a real-time solution in order to detect those programs. All accounts found using third-party programs will be suspended within 3 minutes of a game beginning, and their teammates will be given the option to remake the game. Essentially, they're hoping to stop the match fixing by blocking the players who are throwing games from even being able to access the Korean server. Now, to understand just how we got here, we need to go back to the beginning. Last week, Ole sent out a tweet saying, "In China, there is illegal betting on pro solo queue and abusers who intend to throw games to make money. Especially Faker is the biggest victim among streamers. Who knows, NA/EU solo queue have the same thing." He also showed a video from a Korean streamer called Minsik Park, who showed an app that listed Korean pros and streamers that were streaming at that moment with what is supposedly an option to place bets on those games. There was T1 Cuz, Uzi, and Faker himself. So I reached out to Ole to find out more. He returned to South Korea from North America in June and said it was while he was watching Faker's stream one day that he noticed something was seriously wrong.
I saw his one game was like he was playing really well in mid, and then his like body was just like randomly like through the game all the time, like and then the chat was like, why they're throwing? It's like you have Faker in your team, and then you kind of like 70% gonna win because you have Faker, right? But it's like they literally throw all the time.
Now, we've all seen people throw games before, maybe even intentionally, but Ole felt like this was something different. Like he said, playing with Faker is like the closest thing you can get to a free win, so why would anyone want to throw that away? Ole eventually found Park's video. Park tried to access the Chinese site Yabo, one of the alleged betting sites, from his South Korean browser. He was met with this error message. So he used his Chinese friend's login details on the app to show his viewers what it looked like, and League wasn't even the only game on there. For these clips, we're using the English YouTube translation from the original video.
롤, 이게 롤이죠. L 적혀있는 게 롤이고, 카스랑 별의별 게임이 다 있네 이거.
He then finds a page which shows streamers playing at that moment, including T1's jungler Cuz.
이 게임을 지금 도박을 하고 있다는 거예요, 사람들이. 나머지 지금 없죠. 그러니까 이미 방송을 종료했다. 2샤보 하거든요. 2판 지면은 2.1배, 2판 이기면 1.679배. 만약에 여기 커즈님 팀에 도박에 대해 알고 있다. 그러면은 어뷰징 하겠죠. 돈을 벌기 위해서. 극혐이네요. 극혐.
And those numbers are what this whole story really revolves around here. Because obviously the odds are going to be skewed in favor of some of the best players on the planet.
Pro player usually have like 55 to 60% win rate. So usually losing has more, like losing can make more money.
You can see where this is going, right? The assertion here is that players hard throwing streamers' games, including fakers, is no accident. They're being offered money to do it as soon as the betting abusers can see that streamer's teammates in Champ Select. And even more than that, Ole thinks the money that you can win from these kinds of bets is relative to how big the streamer is.
Faker stream is most popular because there's like so many people there, and then because there are so many people, the money pie is so big. Like if I'm kind of like a Chinese like illegal guy, I'm gonna throw my like 100k and the bet on Faker gonna lose, and then I'm gonna ask the abuser, hey, just lose the game. Then I make 100k for free because it's 2 times. So it's basically 100% stock.
When ELO boosting became a problem in Korea, the government cracked down on it and made it illegal. They targeted boosting companies and heavily fined any players that interacted with them. With this betting situation though, Ole says it's become more difficult to deal with because the players that are throwing games on the Korean server are playing from China, so they're outside the country's jurisdiction.
The problem is if Chinese people abuse it, in Korea we have no way to let them go to jail or something,
If you're a streamer who's getting their game thrown by a teammate for money, that already seriously hurts your content. But for a pro player, solo queue is the bread and butter that they use to sharpen their mechanics and practice new champions and items. With people throwing their games, they can't get in the high quality practice that the Korean server is famous for.
Like if I play like this and your team just throw the game, you can't practice, and then you turn to be a tool for those betting guys. And the second is pro player can't actually practice much because those betting guys just come up our games. Even though we try hard, we're gonna lose or we're gonna win for free. I think that's really dumb.
Now, as I told you guys at the start of the video, Riot has implemented software to catch and suspend these foreign accounts within minutes of joining a game. And in a different statement last week, they also said they've set up a hotline for LCK pros to contact Riot if they ever run into users they suspect of intentional match fixing. Between those two solutions, Riot are hoping to bring an end to this match fixing, which will no doubt come as welcome news to many pros and streamers out there, especially Faker.
It's just so funny to me, especially in the intro, how similar your cadence is to Jeremy Clarkson from Top Gear. And like, I don't think this is true, but I have this weird memory of you telling me that you watched a lot of Top Gear as a kid, and that's where you got the intonations from. But clearly this did not happen, right? Insane.
I did watch Top Gear as a kid.
Okay.
But I never idolized Jeremy Clarkson. I think he's a bit of a twat, to be honest. I think it's probably just like British presenting style. Like I know what like the North American presenting style would be like. We'll have that update for you when it comes. If Riot successfully cracked down on this, it could be the biggest thing in a lifetime.
Dude, that was amazing. Holy